Almost from the start of his time on Earth, man has striven for security. So wherever people gather together to live or work in a secure and stable society, there have to be rules. The rules of organized society are what we call laws, and without them, orderly social life would be practically impossible. In a free society, laws are really formalized agreements between the people, trying to strike a balance between their conflicting interests and so enable them to live together in reasonable peace and security. But members of society will often try to ignore or flout those laws made for the common good. So, over the ages, societies and nations have evolved various institutions of public security, such as the police, to ensure that everyone keeps to the rules. They have given these institutions the authority to see that the laws are observed. Laws which must try to strike a fair balance between the rights of individuals and the community. Since the Great Arab Revolt of 1916, the operation of public security in Jordan has passed through a series of fundamental administrative phases. When Sharif Hussein of Mecca led the revolt of his people against the centuries-old rule of the Ottoman Empire, it was the start of liberation for all Arabs who supported the revolt under his leadership. One of the first achievements of the Great Revolt was the establishment of the Arab state of Syria, headed by Hussein's son, King Faisal I. Unfortunately, the aim of independent nationhood was soon undermined by the Allies, who failed to meet their obligations towards the new Arab state during and following the First World War. As a consequence, establishment of our own Arab security force suffered a severe setback. In fact, it was not until 1920 that the late King Abdullah, founder of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, was able to establish the nation's first security force. This security force was essentially a military one, the first unit of the Arab Army of Jordan, and it continued more or less unchanged in its function and structure until 1956, when the Directorate of Public Security was established, separate from the army. His Majesty King Hussein interested himself in the Directorate of Public Security right from the start. In 1965, a major step was taken by enacting the Law of Public Security, which reorganized the Directorate. It was to be supervised and headed by the Director of Public Security and attached to the Ministry of the Interior. Along with its new role, the Public Security Directorate has also developed a new philosophy based on the concept, a police force at the service of the people. The Public Security Force, in fact, was inspired by the call of His Majesty King Hussein, "Let's build our country and serve our nation better." In 1974, the second conference of the Arab Police and Security Chiefs was held in Amman, under the patronage of His Majesty King Hussein. The conference focused on a unified organization for Arab police forces, and the Jordanian Public Security Directorate came up with a structure based on its belief in the need for specialization in modern administrative affairs. So the force was divided into three main general sections. To handle planning, training and development was to be the task of the Administrative Police Department. Crime investigation and prosecution, that of the Judicial Police, while the Auxiliary Department would deal with personnel, police property and general budgeting. The new organization required a staff specially trained in all basic aspects of police work. After the new recruits have passed medicals and collected uniforms, training begins in earnest. It includes, of course, the usual activities associated with police and other national security organizations, the inevitable drilling and small arms training. But the emphasis is not exclusively on physical and field activities. Specialized educational courses have been established too, in legal studies, human relations, professional skills, and cultural studies. The training for a police recruit in Jordan entails first a period of general training and preparation, followed by training in specialized and more advanced skills in various fields. For example, Jordan has a long tradition of excellence in horsemanship, and so cavalry training is part of the program. Another animal playing an important role in police work is the trained dog, so recruits are taught dog handling. In the modern world, vehicles play an indispensable part in police work. Recruits are trained to the highest standards of motorcycling and car driving. Not least, familiarity with correct procedures at the scene of a crime is vital, as is a knowledge of at least basic forensic skills. Classes are held in what can be called crime laboratories, where techniques such as analysis and study of fingerprints are taught. And the students are made familiar with the various types of apparatus and equipment used in detective work. This sort of specialized training enables the recruits to deepen their knowledge and to acquire broader experiences than just those of basic training. For those interested, there is even musical training too in the police band. For the more promising recruits, there is a higher level of training for officers. The trainee police officer joins the Royal College for Public Security for 3.5 years. While there, he follows a program of courses in individual and social psychology, law studies, public relations, and various academic subjects needed for his profession. Because of the continuing modernization of this college, it has become affiliated to the University of Jordan. Besides these academic studies, physical fitness training is continued throughout the course. One of the major trends in the development of our public security philosophy is to provide a role for women in the services. In 1972, a policewoman's unit was established. It started with a few young girls, but by the end of 1979, 11 classes were graduated at Princess Basma College of Policewomen. They too receive courses in the humanities and law studies, as well as physical training. The women play an important part in the clerical sections, but are by no means confined to traditional female occupations. As the men and women trainees undergo a rigorous program of activities during their studies, they are entitled to its more colourful and pleasurable aspects at the end of the course. The ceremony of graduation. It is a symbol and recognition of their hard work and dedication to public duty. The ceremony also reflects the level of performance that the Public Security Service provides for its staff and officers. The progressive philosophy of the police training is orientated to the task of producing highly qualified men and women, committed to providing better services for their country and its citizens, in keeping with the principles of His Majesty King Hussein. And this objective is affirmed at the swearing-in ceremony each graduation day. Brothers, graduates, I am filled with happiness to stand amongst you today and to participate with you in the 5th graduation ceremony of this college. You have received a training to provide you with the best preparation to serve the nation and to instill in you a devotion to the ideals of law and justice. The high standards of preparation and training in the Jordanian Public Security Service have affected the way of life in Jordan society itself. Citizens can feel a sense of security in their daily lives. These standards are a prerequisite of the stable society in which people can go about their legitimate business and sleep soundly at night. It encourages individuals to respect the rule of law. And in practice, it offers help to citizens wherever and whenever needed.
شرطة النجدة نعم أهلا نعم نعم أيوة من فهد إلى فهد 2-4 جيدا أيوة بعد دقيقة بتكون عندك السيارة علينا فهد إلى فهد 4-4 جب أرسل جب تحرك لضاحية الحسين للإسكان فهد 4-4 إلى فهد استلم
Sights and sounds like these have become only too familiar in the larger towns and cities in almost every part of the world. Yet at the same time, they are the reassurances for peaceful citizens that the police services are at work day and night to preserve law and order. For when the individual has no fear for his life, property, or the preservation of his rights, he can turn wholeheartedly and energetically to his work and relaxations with confidence and a feeling of security, which in its turn benefits the community and the nation as a whole. The Public Security Organization is aware too of its obligations towards foreign visitors. A special division looks after foreigners arriving at airports and seaports, visiting the country for their various reasons. The division has sections for registering arrivals and departures. and for checking the documentation that enables our visitors to pursue their activities wherever and however they travel inside Jordan. One of the main issues which confront Jordan's public security service today is the problem of traffic. It bears particularly hard on old and historic streets, which were not designed for such a heavy volume of traffic, especially in main cities. The rapid growth of traffic is, of course, an outcome of the progress and development of Jordan, commercially, industrially, and agriculturally during recent times. Accordingly, special units for public traffic safety have been set up to deal with traffic control inside the cities and on the intercity highways. It strictly supervises the observance of traffic laws by the public. It has the power to impose on-the-spot fines and issue penalty tickets to those who break the laws designed for the safety of the public and for the optimum flow of traffic. In pursuit of those aims, the special traffic units are provided with all the up-to-date equipment such as radar and the most sophisticated range of computers. The development of Jordan society has resulted in a vast increase in the proportion of the population owning cars and other vehicles. Accordingly, specialized units have been assigned to tackle this matter. Vehicles are tested to the requirements specified by the laws. The units are responsible for issuing and renewing driving and car licenses, assigning car numbers, and the production of registration plates. Driving schools and tests are supervised to meet the bylaws laid down for driving licenses. And everything is carried out efficiently, using the most up-to-date equipment. In Islamic history, cavalry has been a major factor, sometimes the sole factor, in achieving successful movement over the centuries. Due to the geographical features of Jordan, there are certain areas where vehicles just can't be used. And that's where the old Arab cavalry skills have proved invaluable to the public security service. Now, cavalry units are proudly carrying out their responsibilities to maintain peace and safety throughout these areas. It's a happy way of employing old and traditional skills in the service of modern needs. Prevention is better than cure, and the main aim of an efficient public security force will always be the prevention of criminal acts. However, because of conflicts between the varying interests of individuals and between individuals and the community, crime cannot be abolished from human society. It is the duty of public security to track down those who break the law and hand them over to justice. Once a crime is committed, a series of legal procedures is set in motion to detect the criminal, to carry out his arrest, and hand him over to the courts to decide upon his case. In certain instances, the police force is authorized to conduct the preliminary investigations, and success will normally depend on the experience of the investigators and the capability of the special divisions. To achieve his ends, the investigator must be able to gather the maximum amount of information and evidence from all possible sources, and especially at the scene of the crime, using every available facility. These include both on-the-spot examinations and also laboratory tests, including photographs and recording the scene of the crime, taking fingerprints and blood samples, and subjecting everything to analysis. The accumulation of accurate and verifiable data is vital not only in helping to detect the criminal, but later also as evidence at the trial. One of the methods increasingly employed to track down criminals is the use of police dogs. Dogs have proved to be extremely effective in the solution of a number of mysterious and difficult cases. They are frequently adept at drawing attention to clues that can easily be overlooked by human beings and which turn out to be important evidence. They are even useful in picking out suspected criminals at identification parades. With highly skilled personnel, well-trained police dogs are becoming a valuable factor in the process of investigation. Another field of criminal activity, increasingly frequent nowadays, is the type of crimes which strike not only at individual members of society, but at society in general. These include crimes such as drug peddling and the use of counterfeit money. These activities threaten the very fabric of society in the country concerned, as well as the economic relationships between countries. To combat these criminal activities, our public security service cooperates with the authorities concerned abroad, both in the Arab world and internationally. The rule of law prevails all over the country, not only in the well-populated rural and urban areas, but in the more sparsely inhabited deserts as well. Deserts are one of the particular features of the Arab world, including Jordan. Accordingly, special units of police are installed along the borders and patrol the deserts where Bedouins and desert settlers live in order to ensure an atmosphere of peace and security in those remoter parts of the country. But the services provided by the police force for those areas are not limited to just the requirements of law and order. They include also the provision of at least basic social services needed by the tribes who live in the harsher, more difficult environment of the desert. So the appearance of the desert police patrols in the area is usually a pleasant social occasion for a group of Bedouins. The proper treatment of prisoners is another important feature of the Public Security Service's modern philosophy, which keeps abreast with the humanistic trends of today's civilized societies. The criminal should be treated as a person who needs expert treatment to help him readjust to normal life and society. For example, in providing opportunities for study, such as libraries in the prisons, as well as various courses for practical skills, such as learning to type, which will be useful to prisoners in the outside world after their release. They can even sit for public exams while in prison. Recreational facilities are also provided, not only to keep prisoners physically fit, but mentally alert too. These features have become an important part of the public security service in Jordan. And the security service is developing its functions even further. A member of the public security force is giving a party of English tourists here some information about this historic site in their own language.
They built here 13
The security service is extending its role into every aspect of the nation's life as far as it is able.
Over there we can see the Trump Arch at 129.
It's not unusual in Jordan today to see a member of the police force acting as an official tourist guide. Those chosen for the tourist police are given a thorough grounding in local history and languages, and so make themselves useful to our overseas visitors.
310 vor Christus bis 106 nach Christus, dann kommt die Römisch.
These, then, are the people who look after the nation. And so it's only right that the nation should look after them. The state must see to it that the men and women of the public security force are not only properly housed and fed, but provided with adequate medical care and facilities for the health and well-being of themselves and their families. They are often stationed far away from the amenities of a town, so they need shops and supermarkets, recreational outlets, playgrounds, schools, and school transport for their children. And above all, decent family housing. They have undergone a tough and rigorous program to qualify for their public responsibilities. They have the right to relax and enjoy a reasonable social life in return. The public security service in Jordan is one of the nation's great achievements. Over the years, our country has grown and prospered. The people enjoy a better life, better housing and social amenities, a greatly increased standard of living. Jordan has developed from an overwhelmingly agricultural economy to one in which industry and commerce play an increasingly vital part. All these features contribute to a better life for the people. But they can only flourish on the foundation of economic and social stability, provided by an efficient and humane public security service. We pay our tribute for this state of affairs to the energetic and ambitious leadership of our King Hussein. Public security has been his own concern, and from its very beginnings, the public security service in Jordan has founded its philosophy and performance on the words of the King. Let's build our country and serve our nation to the best of our ability.